My name is Marcus. I live just outside Columbus, Ohio, a quiet town, the kind where nothing ever happens, which is why this still doesn't make sense to me. This happened last winter, a few days after New Year's. My wife works night shifts as a nurse, so being alone late at night was normal. Most nights were silent, too silent. That night felt the same. I got home around 6:40 p.m. It was already dark, that dry Midwest cold that makes everything feel empty. I pulled into my driveway and pressed the garage opener. The door started lifting and stopped halfway up. I remember thinking it was broken. Then my headlights swept across the inside and my stomach dropped.
Someone was already standing in my garage, not near the door, not startled, deep inside, near the shelves, like he'd been there for a while. Half his body was swallowed by shadow, the other half perfectly still. My brain refused to catch up. I stared, trying to convince myself it wasn't real. Then he shifted his weight, just enough. My foot slammed the brake before I even realized I moved. I couldn't breathe. He didn't run, didn't flinch, didn't react at all. He just stood there, facing me, watching. I cracked my window open, barely. "Can I help you?" My voice didn't sound like mine. He slowly lifted one hand, palm out, like he was calming me. "I'm sorry," he said. "I thought this was my brother's house." His voice was calm, too calm, like he hadn't just been caught standing alone in a stranger's garage. I asked him why he was inside. He said he recognized the place, said he walked in without thinking, said he realized too late. I told him to leave. He nodded, apologized again, and walked past my car, close enough that I could smell him, before disappearing into the dark. I sat there for a long time, not moving. When I finally checked the garage, nothing was missing. Nothing looked touched. That scared me more. I locked everything that night. Every door, every window. I even locked the door between the garage and the house. The next morning, the side door of the garage was unlocked. I stared at it for a long time. I knew I locked it. I told myself I was wrong. 2 nights later, my wife was working again. I was up late, the TV playing quietly. That's when I heard it. A dull thump from the garage, then nothing.
I muted the TV. Silence. Then the door handle, the one between the garage and the house. It didn't turn. It just moved enough to check. I stood there, holding my phone, not calling anyone, just listening. After about 30 seconds, I heard footsteps moving away. The next morning, I checked the security camera. There was footage. At 11:58 p.m., he was back, standing in the garage. Same jacket, same posture. He stood there for almost 4 minutes, not moving, not searching, just standing. I still don't know what he was waiting for. Then he walked out through the side door. That night, my wife wanted to call the police. I told her it was probably nothing. That was my mistake. 3 days later, I noticed the ladder had been moved, placed directly under the attic access. I felt sick. That night, we heard footsteps above us. Slow, careful. Not an animal. Someone trying not to be heard. We called 911. The police searched everything. They didn't find him, but they found a sleeping bag, food wrappers, and a phone charger plugged into the garage. Someone had been living there, above us, listening to us sleep. We left for a week. The police never found him. A month later, a neighbor posted online. A man was found hiding in their garage attic. Different street, same description, same calm voice. Even now, before I pull into my garage at night, I look inside first, because I know what it's like to realize you weren't alone long before you noticed.
My name is Daniel.
I live in a small town in southern Minnesota, the kind of place where winter feels endless, and once the snow hits, people disappear. This happened last December, the week between Christmas and New Year's. My girlfriend went back to Wisconsin to spend the holidays with her family. I stayed behind because I work overnight shifts at a distribution warehouse outside town. Taking time off isn't really an option. So for the first time in years, I was completely alone. At first, I didn't mind. Most of my neighbors were gone too. Anyone who could afford it left town during winter. The street felt abandoned. No cars, no porch lights, just snow and silence. The first night was normal. I got home around 3 a.m., reheated leftovers, watched TV, and passed out. Nothing strange. The next day, I woke up around noon. That's when I noticed my driveway. It had snowed lightly overnight, just a dusting. But my driveway was spotless. Not just the tire tracks. The entire thing was scraped down to bare concrete. Same with the sidewalk. Perfect edges, straight lines, no footprints. That part bothered me more than it should have. I checked my Ring camera. Nothing. No alerts, no footage. I figured maybe a neighbor did me a favor. Midwest people do stuff like that sometimes. I let it go. That night, I went to work like usual. When I got home around 3:30 a.m., it was snowing harder. I shut the door behind me. That's when I heard it. Scrape, scrape, slow, steady, metal dragging across concrete right outside. I turned off the TV and stood there listening. My stomach dropped before my brain caught up. I pulled the curtain back, just enough to look outside. There was a man in my driveway, shoveling. There was barely any snow on the ground. He wore an old, beat-up winter coat. No hat, no gloves. His movements were slow, stiff but precise, like muscle memory. I opened the front door. "Hey," I said, "you don't need to do that." He stopped. Very slowly, he turned his head toward me. Old guy, late 60s, maybe older, pale skin, sunken eyes, exhausted but painfully alert. He smiled, not friendly, relieved. "I know," he said quietly. "I don't need this when it really starts." "What starts?" I asked. He didn't answer. He picked up his shovel and walked off into the darkness between the houses. I barely slept that night. The next morning, the driveway was clean again. It hadn't snowed. The same thing happened the next night, and the next. Every morning, a perfect driveway. Every night, nothing on the camera. By the fourth night, I stopped pretending this was normal. I called in sick and stayed up, sitting in the dark living room. At exactly 2:47 a.m., the scraping started again. He was back. But this time, he wasn't clearing the driveway. He was carving a narrow path across my yard straight to the back door. When he finished, he stood there, staring at it. Then he slowly turned his head, looked straight at my window, and smiled. The next day, I called the police. They didn't find anything. One neighbor mentioned something that stuck with me. The previous owner of my house, an elderly man, lived alone, died during a snowstorm, collapsed while shoveling. That night, a real storm hit, the kind that buries cars and traps people inside. I didn't sleep. Morning came. The driveway was spotless. Fresh shovel marks led to the back door and stopped. I moved out 2 weeks later. The house sold fast, too fast. Months later, I looked up public records, the previous owner's name, his photo. The man in the picture was wearing the same coat, same face, same sunken eyes. The cause of death had been updated, not a heart attack, hypothermia. Time of death, 2:47 a.m. They found him collapsed near the back door,
Driveway perfectly clear. A narrow path shoveled straight to the house. Sometimes I drive past that place in winter. Every storm, the driveway is clean. But if you look close enough, there's always one extra path leading to the back door. Like he's still getting ready for whoever lives there next.
Some stories end when the night is over. Others stay with you. Thanks for listening.